Cape Town was the leading anti-apartheid university, which was actually protecting its rights to be multiracial, even though it was about a 3.5%. But it was the Open Universities Act, and our protest was against that, and I was involved. My father,
By the way,
I was there from 62 to 65. My father, because he was anti-sectarian in terms of Ireland, was therefore obviously also against racial division. And he actually converted the whole of his fingerprint department that he took over. All of the people were all expatriates, all white expatriates. By the time he left and handed over, they were all Zambians. It was the first part of the Zambian police force that was totally Zambian. He was head of the Wild Geese Society. So again, your Irish connection. And they ran the St. Patrick's Night Ball, and the patron, and he was there every year, was the president, Kenneth Kaunda. So again, these things all link together. So I was brought up with this belief that racial division was all right. And you go back to moments in your life. I must have been about 8 when a Nigerian policeman came for a week to Belfast, and he stayed at our house. And then I saw apartheid, and I thought, well, this was a great guy, and he gave me a few little gifts from Nigeria and all that, all those things. And I just couldn't believe these seats with whites only and what have you on. But I still went to Cape Town University, and I went to Cape Town University against the wishes of my parents. My dad wanted me to come to Trinity. My father really wanted me to play international rugby, actually. That was what he wanted.
So you're a failure now, no matter whatever you've achieved in your life.
Yeah. But I had a very good friend, and we decided, I decided I wanted to go to Cape Town University when I was 10, and they didn't know that, because we spent 4 days in Cape Town before we went up to Zambia, and I saw the university on the hill, and I said, that's where I want to go. But that was just to me. So they were on a hiding to nothing. I was going to Cape Town. And then this friend of mine wanted to go, and I went to Cape Town Varsity. And that was a great choice. And then I got involved with the anti-apartheid movement with NUSAS. Was elected to the Students' Council on a NUSAS ticket. And then basically I went to Johannesburg for a while, but then I went back to Zambia.
Were you under pressure as, the police kept a very close eye on that university?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did have, I stayed in a house with, because I was for a while the editor of the university newspaper.
Okay.
So that was
see a pattern here, yeah.
That was part of it, yeah. I mean, even then, if you think, I do all sorts of things now. I did all sorts of things then. I was, because I played first team basketball, first team rugby. I was on the SRC. For me, that was finishing school for me. And having come from, the family was basically in government service up in Zambia, and I meet these sons of stockbrokers and all of that. So because I did social science. I'm a qualified social worker. I'm still a registered social worker in South Africa. I met them all, and I said, no, this is me. Business is where I want to be. And that was, I started with a clothing company, but then had an offer to go back to Zambia. Happened to be in this business, and 43 years later, I retired. I was not surprised that it hung on so long. I remember being on a train, and somehow or other I was with a group of Afrikaners, but like 3 other guys, so they were not a big group. And we got down to politics. And whilst we fundamentally disagreed with each other, what I learned was that this was their belief system. racial inferiority, and it was absolutely ingrained within them. And I think one of the things that people don't do enough is they don't try and understand why someone else believes something. You try and argue them away from their belief because you know they're wrong. But actually, if you're going to build a bridge, you need to understand what they really believe, why they believe what they believe. So sort of a 180-degree thing. And social science actually taught me that, which has been very good for my business career as well, because most people are more, I'll out-argue you rather than I'll find a way to build a bridge. But I understood how deep that was within the Afrikaner. And whilst English-speaking South Africans will now largely tell you that they were against apartheid, they rode on the wagon very happily. Right.
I can buy into that.
Yeah.
It's like the economy was growing really fast and nothing had to be shared.
Yeah.
In that 60s period.
Yeah, and
a
it
lot
was,
of money sloshing
yes,
around. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, talking about lack of understanding, because obviously most of my friends were English speaking, and I would actually into trouble at dinner parties. But one of the things I was able to do at Coke, because I had a permit that allowed me to go into Soweto. As a white person, you needed a permit to go into South. Right? I mean, that's how divided it was. And you're supposed to leave by 6 o'clock at night. So I would sit at dinner party and they'd tell me about how, well, really, you don't understand that black South Africans are very happy the way things are and what have you. And I said, well, have you ever been to Soweto? No, you can't go to Soweto. I said, well, look, I've been to Soweto. And what I used to do on occasions, not very often, but they had these illegal drinking places because they were supposed to only sell African beer. And they had these, and it was one of these modus vivendi things that takes place. So I used to go there with my rep, who was black South African, and go to the drinking places and sit there. And it was very interesting because, I mean, there's a white man there, so now I was welcomed. It was really interesting, but then you really got into discussions, and I would sneak out at 8 o'clock sometimes, for illegally, but having had a few beers with these people. Interesting evolution, and I'm wandering a little bit here, but
this is your worldview.
I did know, not that apartheid was going to end, but that there was going to be a blow up. Because I suddenly started feeling uncomfortable. I wasn't welcome. There was something happening, and Christmas '75, I was at Sunnyside Park Hotel with some of my mates, and we get into this, and I say, there's another shopful coming. And I had the argument, and basically said, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm going to sell my house. So I go home and tell my wife, I said, we're going to sell our house. What do you mean we're going to sell our house? Yeah. I said, there's another shopful coming. And I put it on the market, and luckily 10 days before, because I wasn't pushing it, I didn't see it was going to happen tomorrow, I actually sold it. And 18 months later we rented, and then 18 months later I bought a house which would have, at the time, been twice the value, because the property prices collapsed.